You have to lower your chest, man.
Lower it.
Lower it.
Lower it.
Stick what in your need. Welcome to another episode of Mek Sense with Melzy, where we make sense of the world that we live in through real culture conversations. Who really has it all figured out? Definitely not me. So let's make sense together. Today, I've got a Birmingham baddie sitting next to me. She is the CEO of Let's Talk Property, and she has a portfolio that nearly equates to £1 million. Welcome my guest, Hailee McIntosh. Hey girl.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm well. I'm
You look
well.
beautiful.
I'm blessed. So do you.
You look so cute.
And the melons are melanin.
The melanin is melanin. Is it melanin? Girl?
Melanin. My English is terrible, and you'll realise that through this whole podcast. I fight English every day.
Do you? Yeah, me too. I loved our little lunch date
Same.
the other day.
It was so nice.
It was so cute.
And the thing is, the food coma that I had when I went home.
Girl.
I was
Girl.
I was done.
I literally had the rest of the day after.
No,
I was like,
fact.
oh my gosh, I need to spend more time at restaurants, especially that one. So I know you're a big dog in the game in Birmingham. You've got a huge amount of property at the moment you're doing with Airbnb, and you're also Jamaican.
Big up Jamaica every time. Big up Jamaica every time.
So what part of Jamaica are you from?
So my mum's side of the family is from St. Anne, Brownstown in particular, and my dad's side is from Westmoreland, Grange Hill in particular. But majority of my family now live around the Kingston area and Spanish Town area as well. So
Spanish Town.
Spanish Town.
So I'm Jamaican too, but I don't know, do you not find that when you're not born there, you're not as Jamaican?
Do you know what it is? I feel like everyone's experience is going to be different.
Yeah.
Because I think my Jamaicanness is definitely developed from how often I go there.
Right.
So I've been going to Jamaica every year since I was 10 months old. So I feel very connected to the country.
Of course.
And I feel like when I go, I feel like at home. And I don't know how to explain it. I wasn't born there, but I have such a sense of I'm at home when I'm there.
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel so comfortable. I
Yeah.
feel a lot more freer there. I just feel like that is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
So I feel like one of my goals is to move there. I think I need to transition first to do maybe like 60-40 of my time, maybe UK 60 and then Jamaica 40, and then swap it over and then kind of gradually decrease my time in the UK, because I just feel like a sense of
belonging.
I feel belonging.
I've only been to Jamaica like once, and I know that's really bad.
No, but it is
So
what
I
it
feel
is.
like I shouldn't be claiming Jamaican if I've only been there.
No, but it's your heritage though.
I know, but I still feel like I really should go back there. But as soon as I got off the plane, it was just like home sweet home.
Yeah, man.
I turned to Shelly and what?
Yeah.
What? Where's it? Where the party at? What on?
No, listen.
And then even the locals were like, which part of Jamaica are you from?
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
but I'm from England.
That's the thing.
No, you sound like you're from Orchard, Bromstone. But then everyone in the UK said that my Jamaican accent's dead. So it's
No,
like,
but
what?
also I feel like one big about English. One big misconception about Jamaica is that everyone speaks deep patois, and that's not true.
No, it's not.
So, like for example, when my family live now in Kingston, people speak very proper English over there, and you're not gonna hear like deep patois that you're gonna hear. The more country you go, the deeper patois you're gonna hear. So don't let anyone tell you that you don't have a good Jamaican accent,
No.
because at the end of the day, we all speak English.
That part.
There we go.
So today, guys, we really want to make sense of buying property, investing in property, renting out property, because there's so much talks at the moment on, oh, it's not good to invest. Interest rates are high at the moment. Now's not really a good time. So I think it's really important for us to make sense of it, because we all need a yard to live in at the end of the day.
Facts.
So how did it start for you in terms of property?
Definitely family. So my family is very heavily involved in property, and that's all I've ever seen growing up. So I think that has helped a lot.
Yeah.
My parents invest in property, and for as long as I can remember, they have done. I would say that they started out, as many people do, by just doing like buy-to-lets, where you buy a house on a buy-to-let mortgage and you have tenants in there and they rent it out for a certain period of time. That's just kind of like the regular standard way of like investing in property. And that's what they did. I had no interest in it growing up. Didn't care about it. I just saw it as, oh, this is what they do. They drag me to the house every now and again, just check up on it. And then I was just there like, this is boring. I don't care. That's just like, I just didn't care.
Yeah.
It was only until 2019, my mom started taking me to property investment workshops and things like that. And they were put on by a guy called Rod Shields. And he is like a multimillionaire black property investor in Birmingham. He is amazing. And every time I was talk about my journey, I always talk about him because he's definitely a key factor into like how I get into property as well, because he put on these workshops solely for the black community, because he felt like there was so many like landlords that he was just meeting, but people weren't working together. And obviously I feel like in our community, we all know we don't always work together. We kind of work against each other. So it was more just bringing that element of just like a community feel. I think he did it really well. And then so the workshops initially, I felt like it was more for people that were more advanced. So I would go there and they'd be talking about doing like property renovations where you need like £40,000 to like do it up, and I'm just there like, do I even have £2 in my bank account right now? Like, for me, it was just too unrelatable at the time. But I like being around those kind of people. And then whilst I was at the workshop, one of the times, there was a young man there, and he had around like 9 properties at the time. And he was, I think at the time, he was like 24. So I was just there like, like, I need to chat to you about how you did this and all of that. Then we got talking and he kind of broke it down in such a simplistic way to me. And I was like, even though I had my parents there, do you know when you just meet someone that is your age, doing something that you want to do, and it's just seem more achievable?
Yeah, of course. It seems more relatable as well.
Yeah. Because like my parents, again, they bought the properties years ago, and I felt like the property prices were a lot lower. So it's like, okay, now they're rising. This isn't relatable to me at the moment. Whereas like you're buying these at a young age now. Not like 10 years ago. You weren't doing it when you were 13. Do you know what I mean? So it's more relatable. So then we ended up building like quite a really good relationship through him just teaching me, showing me the properties that he had. And then at the time, like I was a teacher as well. So we kind of just thought we'd just merge our skill sets together and just put on workshops for young black people that wanted to know more. And it was so random, such spur of the moment. We just tried it out. There was a school, King Solomon Schools, and the guy who owns like the head of business, he was like, you can do your workshops for free here. And I know one guy that just puts on Jamaican food, so I just said, yo, come and cater for the event. Did the tickets, and we sold out like 50 tickets like straight away. And we had no socials then, like no nothing. So we just like spread the word, and it was just a really good vibe. And we really enjoyed doing this. And I felt like from the workshops, I was learning, he was networking more, putting himself out there, and it was just spreading like just knowledge about the property industry that people just didn't know about. So that's kind of like how that came about. And we went to London, did the same thing, and then we started doing them online, and then that's when the page came about.
Why do you think people struggle so much to get on the property ladder? What kind of adversities do you think they face?
I think that people underestimate how much money is required. I think they don't understand the process, and they just think that they need to have like one big lump sum of like whatever figure they have in their head. And I don't think they properly like break it down, like how achievable it can be. And also I feel like a lot of people like immediate gratification. So,
and that's not that kind of investment. It's very much
it's not it's not. So if you are making this decision, it's not a decision that you make today and then tomorrow you've got the house,
the benefits.
And then you're automatically just gonna have like millions in your account. It does not work like that. So I think that people just don't think about the step-by-step process into buying a house and what it involves and how it relates to them as well, and what they can do with property as well. Because I hear a lot of people say, well, why am I going to buy a house if I don't want to live here my whole life? And it's like, but then you can also get the house that you live in and then turn it into an investment property later on down the line. There's so many things that you can do with property where I feel like the education again is just not there, or maybe it is there. It's just not. It's not
there. They should be teaching kids in school about property.
I definitely
on the curriculum.
I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with the fact that But how I do think the information is out there. I don't think it reaches the right people all the time.
And it might not be accessible. And also, I feel like you need to have somebody right next to you that's going to be like, you need to get a broker.
Yeah.
You need to have this. You
Yeah.
need to have this kind of credit. And I feel like if you don't have that, it's easy for you to just go through life spending, paying rent. And what you've realised is you've been paying rent for 10, 20 years. And you've been paid off for the mortgage.
True.
And still being, do you know what I mean?
And I also feel like people don't like to have discipline with their finances a lot.
Oh, let's talk about it.
They don't like to have discipline because people will say, oh my God, how did you buy property at 24? But I'm like, it didn't come overnight. And also I had to make a lot of sacrifices.
Right.
Some sacrifices that people actually don't want to make. And that's fine. But it's something that I wanted. So I set a goal and I had to have discipline to make sure I achieved those goals.
And what sacrifices did you make?
I'd say at the time it was not carelessly spending my money, because when I first started saving, it was the first time I got a full-time permanent job. Right. And it was my first time having like a salaried income come into my account every month. So for me, it was like, right, I got this money, I'm gonna go this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And it was having that discipline not to just splurge it all. And I think that is a big problem.
Of course.
And I feel like a lot of people like to...
money when you're young, so
Yeah,
you
you
go
do.
to university.
Yeah.
You do certain things. Oh, let's go out. Yeah, let's go out.
Yeah.
Let's go on holiday. Let's go on holiday.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that you said that, because a lot of elders did say save in your 20s, and I didn't actually listen to
Yeah.
it. And I wish I did. Do you get
I
what
do
mean?
think that's a big thing. But I wouldn't even say saving. I'd just say start saving from as soon as you start making money. Like, not everything you get, you need to spend.
Yeah.
Like, you actually
Why is that?
don't.
Why are we from such a culture where... And I think it's the British culture too.
Yeah.
Like, why are we from this whole culture of we need to spend money all the time?
People like to just prove something to other people a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I need to show that I've got this and show that I've got that. But I also feel like in my family, the ones that are on the wealthier level, they've always taught me that you don't need to be showy
Right.
and have flashy stuff. Like the richest side of my family, on a day-to-day basis, you wouldn't think they have any money because they're not in the Gucci, in the Prada, in this and this and that. They'd rather just like probably spend lots of money on like a nice designer brand where the clothes have longevity.
Right.
Don't need to have Gucci.
On
They
the
need to
front.
have Gucci. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not about
Prada.
showing. It's just about like also like utilizing your money. Like, how can I have this money now and then let it stretch for the next 20 years? Like, what can I do with this money to help me it stretch? And property is something where you can put money into it and it's going to continuously add value. Well, sometimes.
Sometimes it has values.
Yeah.
Obviously, the property market's a little bit up and down.
Yeah.
What's your kind of opinion on that now we're in a official recession?
I do feel like people just need to do their due diligence and their numbers. So if you're looking to invest, always make sure that your return on investment is something that is a figure that you're happy with. So I feel like some people just say, I want to buy this property, and if it rents out, it rents out. They don't do no numbers, no nothing. When it goes wrong, they're confused. But I feel like if you did your numbers and you plan for the worst case scenario and the best, fluctuations like this aren't maybe going to hit you as hard when you've done your calculations.
Right.
Because I feel like we had this conversation, but in the family portfolio that we've got, we had a property that was a regular buy-to-let, and just had a family in there. Then the mortgage products finished and we had to remortgage and get a new mortgage product. And when you remortgage, the interest rates will change based on the mortgage provider that you go with. So this interest rate now doubled, and it meant that the mortgage payments that you make every single month has doubled as well.
Right.
So the money that the rent money wasn't covering the mortgage anymore. So it's like when last week it was, and now it's not.
No, it's not.
You've now got to think of other ways to now diversify your portfolio to help you still make money on the property as well. So then we decided to turn it into a service accommodation, like to your Airbnbs. And that makes triple the amount that it would make on a normal buy-to-let.
Yeah, because you could make triple amount of money from your Airbnb in 1 week, 2 weeks,
This is the thing.
and have an empty property if you really wanted to. Do you get what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people are going into Airbnb at the moment.
They are, but this is why they're putting rules now.
Regulation, I know, right?
Yeah, they're starting to put regulations. And I do agree with it to a certain extent, especially if we're in a housing crisis. There are a lot of people without homes, a lot of homeless people. And if a lot of these people are just taking on properties and turn them into Airbnbs, then there's a lot of houses that are not being
I didn't
used.
look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, as much as it's the business that I'm in, I understand why the rules are being implemented as well. And there's also a lot of nasty Airbnbs out there. Disgusting.
Really?
Like, I can just tell that no thought's been put into it, and they'll just charge like an arm and a leg. So I do feel like you kind of need to filter out the bad hosts to the good hosts as well. Yeah.
Because not everybody buys their property
No.
during Airbnb.
No. So you've got a thing called rent to rent, which is where a landlord will have a property and he'll rent it to you, and then he will give you permission then to rent it to others. So basically like a sublet, but it's approved sublet as well. But you have a contract in place. They tend to be company lets. So you'd have a company agreement because you would be a company and your company is housing other people.
Right.
So that's kind of how it would work. I would present myself to a landlord and say, I'm going to house like different people within this property, maybe like relocate contractors and things like that. But that will be written in the contract.
Right.
But what people also need to understand as well, I think it's not talked about a lot when people think about rent to rent, is that landlords also need to make sure that their mortgage providers, if they've got a mortgage on it,
whether they can rent.
if they can do that, because a lot of people can't and they have to give it back. So you could be making a good income and then the landlord realises they shouldn't even be doing this. And then now you've just lost your income. Because people that quit the 9 to 5s, because service accommodation can make very good money. So when you are making that good money and you have to give it back when it's not yours, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking, well, I need to replace that money ASAP.
I didn't look at it from that perspective, actually, because you are right, because you've put your money in there and a lot of them kind of do up the property.
Yeah.
And they put like furniture in there. And I know a few girls that are making some guap from Airbnb. Like, even I've considered doing it.
Yeah.
Is it quite a lot to manage?
I think that it's all dependent on how you are as a person, because I think that it like however much you put into it financially and time wise is how much you get out of it. So with us, when we had like 1 or 2, we did everything ourselves. So again, it was very hands on and it's very time consuming. But as we got more with it, we can't keep doing this when all of us at the time when we first had a full-time job. So my mum was very senior level in her job. My dad was as well. And I was a teacher, so I wasn't senior, but do you know what I mean? We all had very demanding jobs. So having the service accommodations on the side, we had to make sure that it was kind of like turning over without us doing a lot of stuff.
Right.
So we had to get a cleaner in, because at first we were doing the cleans ourselves. Time consuming. Who's got time for that?
Girl.
And I hate cleaning.
I don't mind cleaning, you know.
I hate it.
I hate doing laundry.
That's another thing.
Laundry, oh my gosh, I can't stand that with passion. Like having to do kids and husband and laundry, I'm not looking forward to that part of my life at all.
No, I even like my own laundry.
I will be getting someone to do my laundry, like clean, cook, we scrub our window.
I'm just not domesticated. I'm not.
It's just like, no, I just don't want to do it at all.
Nah, I like cooking, but if I felt like I had to do it all the time, I'd just be like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm not domesticated.
I get that.
I'm not womanly like that at all. Like, at all. If a man's looking at me for womanly vibes, it's not me.
It's not there.
Next contender. Because it's not me. I'm not the one that's going to be like, oh, do you want me to cook you a nice dinner? I'm not that babe. So I'm just not.
I think this is another conversation.
Yeah. We've just diverted, but yeah.
I like to clean, like, I spent hours cleaning my yard last night because I like to just have been a clean house. That's why. And smellies on, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Like once a week, do you know what I mean? But I do get a bit messy. I do have my moments. So I don't think I'd be able to do the cleaning in the Airbnb because I don't like doing like top of the cupboards. I don't like cleaning windows.
Yeah.
I do all of the other in-between stuff, but you know, like the little bee stuff. Can't be asked to do any of that.
It's long. Like I have a cleaner now and I love her so much. Big up Maria, because I love her so much.
Big up you, Maria.
I love her. I love her so much because she's so flexible, and like cleaning is not her full-time job. So the fact that she is able to clean like our Airbnbs and stuff like that and just be so flexible with us, because again, we do have kind of like consistent bookings, but let's say like we get like a random one, she's able to just jump in. And when like, for example, like she's going on holiday soon and I was just like, holiday?
What do you do?
Holiday? What do you mean? So she's been on holiday before and we've had to find someone else, and that's fine. But it's like, there's been times when I've had to do it and I'm doing it and I'm just like, bun this. The whole house.
It's a lot.
And remember, Airbnb cleans, it's not like a little dust.
Daily. No, it's not. It's
a deep end of tenancy clean.
Yeah, like
it's a deep clean. Yeah, you need to make sure because you know that when you walk into a hotel, you expect it to be immaculate. It's the same level.
Yeah.
And also the linen. So we have a linen company that we use. So they provide us all the linen for the bed sheets, the pillowcases, the towels, everything like that. And then we take the dirty linen that's in the property and give it back to them. So we don't clean it, we don't iron it, we don't do nothing. It's literally just an swap and exchange. And that's the most time and cost effective way for us to manage all the properties, because some of them have like 4 beds in there. Who has got time to wash sheets, iron them out and spread the bed?
Girl.
Because one thing about me, I'm not a bed spreader.
You're not a bed spreader.
I'm not domesticated.
My dad used to bust my ass if I never spread my bed. Like...
No, don't get it twisted. That happens. Because my nan does not understand how you can get up in the morning and then not spread your bed. She's like, that's just like the natural routine. That's what you do. But I just can't be bothered. I am. As much as like, you know, we have this business and it's doing well and blah, blah, blah. I'm a lazy person.
I'm not even hearing this from Hailee. This girl has nearly got £1 million worth of a property portfolio. She is not far off. You are not lazy, Hailee. I'm not having it. I'm actually not having it.
Okay, I have lazy tendencies.
That's a bit better. We can take that.
I have lazy tendencies.
Have you had any bad experiences with Airbnb? Like anyone leave like marks and stuff all over the place?
Marks and stuff is kind of like inevitable, because sometimes you can have a suitcase and it just drags across the wall or something. Do you know what I mean?
You don't. You should not. No, that does not happen.
No, okay.
What?
This is coming from a property manager now, yeah. There's a such thing as high traffic areas, like your hallways, your stairs, things like that. I can't be angry when there's little scuff marks in high traffic areas. But you see, if I see one big piece of dirty stinking something on the wall, that's when you're gonna get cussed. That's when you're gonna get cussed.
Yeah, because I saw a guy on Instagram the other day, and he showed this Airbnb property, and there was dye on the bed sheets, there was canisters all over the place.
Yeah, we're gonna
find a hole on the floor, a hole in the wall. Like, it was really, really bad.
Yeah,
and that's kind of enough to put anybody off.
See, this is where I think that people need to understand, with service accommodation, there are 2 avenues that you can go down. You could either go through leisure, which is where people just book like for 1 night or 2 nights and they're just here for a good time, not a long time. Or you can work with contractors, which is what I do. So leisure, you are more likely to get the parties and the damage and things like that, because you just get in just regular people just coming in just for like an enjoyment period and then dip in. They don't care. They don't know who you are. They don't care for the property. They're just here. People are selfish at the end of the day. People just selfish. Like, I can think about times when I've been to like an apartment party. To be fair, do I care whose apartment it is at the time? I just want to have fun. So like, do you know what I mean? So I know when it's your business, you're thinking, how can people do this? But sometimes when people are so in the moment of enjoying themselves, they don't care. And when alcohol's involved, if drugs are involved, people just, the last thing you're thinking about is, let me treat this property with respect. So it does happen. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But then I feel like you need to understand your target audience as well. So like my target audience is solely contractors.
So what do you mean by contractors? Like, who are you actually renting it out to?
So it is only to workers that are in the area to complete work within that area. So we'll work with a business. And the business, let's just say, for example, I've got the Airbnb in Birmingham. The business is based in Scotland. They've got work to do in Birmingham. The person's not going to be travelling from Scotland to Birmingham for, let's say, the project's for like a month. They're not going to keep travelling back and forth every day. So they need to stay in Birmingham for a set period of time. That's when they pay per the night to stay in our Airbnbs. And I only house people like that, because really and truly, all they do is come in, they wake up, because them contractors are out from early in the morning. They literally go to work, sleep, eat, and do number 2. That's about it. And that is it. So
that makes sense.
The damage in the property is very minimal. The lived-inness of the property is very minimal, because they just, again, they come out of bed. A lot of them don't wash in the morning. Because I've been there after a couple of nights and the shower ain't been touched. Like, there's not even like a water residue.
I don't get that. I've never gotten that.
But a lot of the contractors, they just wake up in the morning and they just put on their uniform, go about their business, do their work, come back, eat, have about 10 beers and go to bed. Because the shower will be off, but the recycling bin will be full with beer cans. Priorities are backwards. Backwards. But to this day, I really haven't had a bad experience.
That's good though.
Like,
you've not had a bad experience.
I want to say touch wood, yeah. Probably in my head, but you know. But probably the most I've had is just People like losing keys and things like that.
Right.
So that's where I'll probably come back to your point and say like, how hands-on is it? I've been at parties, for example, and I've had a call. Oh, I've lost my key.
I'm not answering that phone call. You locked out.
This is the thing. It's a business, so you gotta.
I got.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I probably say the most memorable one was, it was my dance teacher's 40th birthday, and it was a surprise party for her, and she hadn't arrived yet for everyone to say surprise. Then I got a call to say, oh, we've lost the key. And I've had to travel like an hour because of where the place was to the house to then let them in. And things like that. So obviously I missed the whole surprise.
That's crazy.
So you always got to make yourself available, but then you have to learn from these things as well.
And move forward.
Yeah. So like now I keep an emergency spare key somewhere else so that I ain't got to be doing this traveling. What if I was on holiday?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you just learn. I think you learn as you go.
How much money on average? I know this is a bit personal, but I know you're going to free it up for the
Yeah.
podcast.
Well,
you're like,
I mean, just...
freed it up. Yeah. On average, how much money can you make monthly from Airbnb?
Okay. I just want to point out, I am very bad at maths.
Okay, me too.
So, I'm not good at mental maths.
Okay.
But give me a piece of pen and paper and give me additional time.
I'm not giving you additional time and a pen and paper to answer this question.
Okay, so...
Give me an average.
Okay, no, but I think it's very dependent. Airbnb is very dependent on area.
Okay.
So like, for example, you can have a property where you charge £200 per night.
Right.
Or a property where you charge £60 per night.
Right.
It's all relative, and it's also seasonal, like hotels.
Right.
You don't expect like the price for a hotel in Montego Bay to be the same price in Feb as you do in August, because August, is peak season.
Can
so
you change the
Airbnb,
prices according to peak season? Really?
Yeah, you can change your prices according to peak season, and obviously like weekends tend to be higher. I tend to bump up my prices all the way for weekends because I try and avoid weekend stays because it attracts leisure, and I said it before. I don't have time for that.
So on like a 200 per night property, how much can that? You can get
this is what I mean. We need the calculator.
How much would you say that ranking is? 200.
So if we just kept it
times 5.
Okay, no, hold on. So if we just kept it as £200 per night, and let's just say we've had 4 occupancy for the month, which is, some people it's very achievable, some people it doesn't always happen. I never tend to base my figures off 100% occupancy. So let's just say £200. Let's say it's a 30-day month. That's £6,000. But then you've got to factor in cleaning costs. You've got to factor in linen costs. You've got to factor in your outgoings. So if you've bought the property, your outgoings would typically be like your mortgage, insurance, utility bills, council tax, blah, 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 all that stuff that comes with it. If you're doing rent to rent, then you'd have the same, but obviously it wouldn't be mortgage, it would be rent. So obviously typically rent is just significantly higher. So if you're doing rent to rent, your outgoings naturally are just more higher than it would be if you were to buy the property as well. So you also need to factor that in for your figures when you're looking into the business.
But then if you're earning like £6,000 a month, say take £2,000 off whatever, still like if you've got like 3 properties making £4,000 each month, like you're rolling in it. You're rolling down the river. That's crazy.
Yeah, so you can make very, very good money from it, and it's very location dependent.
And they're changing the rules because they're trying to take tax on you guys now, aren't they? Is that what it is?
No, regardless, you always got to pay tax. Airbnb was never tax free.
And never tax free?
Never. If the properties are in your name, then you do like a self-assessment tax return. But if it's in a limited company, then you just do like your regular tax return. So you always have to pay tax. And trust me, tax ain't nice. My 31st of January, for me, this year was a very dark day. A very, very, very dark day.
I don't want you to tell me, but I do want you to tell me how much did the tax one take from you?
I'll have to tell you off camera because it was very rude.
Whisper. Cover your mouth and whisper. Whoa, tax man is taxing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So do you think it's best to buy property or Airbnb, or do you think it's based on your reasons?
I think it's based on your reasons. If you want to get into property investment, I heavily recommend you choose a strategy that you enjoy, because I've got friends that have heard about Airbnb properties and blah, blah, blah. They see it online, they see the money that you can make, and they think that it's completely passive and it's hands off. It's a hospitality business. You need to be hospitable. So when people are messaging you, asking you questions, you can't be rude to them, or you need to be attentive. Airbnb, Booking.com, all of these online booking platforms, they measure your response rate and things like that. And you also need to be accommodating to guests, but having attention to detail and things like that.
Make sure it's
so
a nice
if that is
space.
not a bit of you, and it's fine if it's not a bit of you, don't get into the industry. Simple as.
If it's not you,
then don't get into it.
Don't do
There's
it.
other strategies out there. Like, for example, I say to creatives, like, if you're interested in property, go into commercial property, go and buy a studio and then rent out the studio. Or if you're into beauty, go and buy a studio space, a studio salon, and then maybe have like a bit for lashes, a bit for nails, a bit for hair.
Yeah.
There's different avenues of property that you can go into, because remember, if you buy that salon, you can still make profit, because then the other beauty people are renting from you as well. You're not renting to a tenant, you're renting from professionals. So it's still property, but you just need to find out what suits your lifestyle and what suits you.
And would you say it's best for it to go under a business, or is it best to go under you as an individual?
Under as a business, limited company. There's better tax benefits when you do it as a limited company.
Right.
Way better. I don't know much about it, so I can't answer. No, I'm being deadly serious.
Better.
It's just better. But when it comes to tax advice, I'm the last person you should ever speak to. Because when my accountant speaks to me, I'm like, what? It's bare numbers, man.
A lot of people want to get on the property ladder, but they don't necessarily know how to. There's even people in council flats or council properties, housing association properties, that have one bag of discount that they can put towards this property, and they just don't know how to maneuver into that. What advice would you give to the first time buyer?
So I think the main thing is looking at like your needs and wants. So like, why do you want to buy a property? Do you need to buy a property? I think that's a big question. I think some people just like the idea of it. Do you need it at this present moment in time?
That's interesting.
Yeah, because sometimes people jump into it in a point of their life where maybe they're not ready for it.
Okay, I get
so that
that.
maybe they have like the deposit money, but then maybe they don't understand the reasons as to, not understand, but maybe they don't need to use that deposit money towards a house. Maybe they're fine with renting. Maybe the rental cost is fine for them right now. And they're going to use that deposit money maybe to better themselves in their business area or just something different. So I think understanding like, why do you need to buy a property right now? Or what is your purpose for it? Because I think that is a driving force into helping you go through the process, because it's not an easy process.
It's not. Tell me about this process. We need to talk about this process.
So your first thing that you need to do is speak to a mortgage advisor.
Okay.
I would always recommend going through a mortgage broker rather than going through a bank. A bank will only have mortgage products for that bank.
Right.
They're not gonna, let's say for example, Lloyds Bank. Lloyds Bank will have a mortgage service and they're not gonna tell you about NatWest, because NatWest is their competitor.
Right.
A mortgage broker is gonna have NatWest, Skipton, they're gonna have like loads of different providers that they can see what their best rates are and things like that, so they can see how it tailors to you. And a bank is not gonna be able to give you that. So it's always best to speak to a broker to see what you have, more options. A bit like car insurance. Think about buying a house like car insurance.
Confused.com.
You're going to go on confused.com.
Compare.
You're not just going to go straight to LV, because you know LV are going to teeth you out. You're going to go compare and you're going to get the list and see who has the best insurance rates for me. That's exactly how a mortgage is when you go to a broker. So you can either go directly to the insurance provider, or you can go through compare the market and then compare the market would be the broker, and you can see all the different options that you got available to you and who has the best product for you. So that's probably the first step I would say.
Mr. Mortgage Broker,
Yeah, and then the mortgage broker is then going to talk about how much you would be eligible to borrow from a mortgage provider. So they would look at your finances or your outgoings. The higher your the lower your outgoings are, the more you'll be able to borrow from a mortgage provider. But it's also coincides with your credit. So
what is the credit score thing? How much credit score do you really need to get a property?
I wouldn't really say it's the number, because I'd say that when I bought my house, my number weren't great. But I'd say it is. I don't remember. I probably don't remember.
Well, I was getting inside a lot.
I probably don't remember.
I think mine's on 697.
All I know, it was like I think it was like amber.
Oh.
Yeah. I think at the time it was like amber. I don't know what number that is.
Amber, technically,
but
nearly green.
Yeah. So you don't need to be on like 999.
Okay.
But think of it this way. If you said to me, oh, Hailee, can I borrow you can you borrow me like £500? And I'm just there like, yeah, cool. And then you like, I'm going to pay you back on the 31st of December this year. and then 31st December comes, I ain't got my money back. And then you give it back to me, I don't know, maybe like 2nd of Feb.
Yeah.
And then 1st of March comes now, and you're like, oh, Hailee, do you know how you borrowed me? I did give it you back, but can you borrow me again? And be like, do you know what? I don't think I can trust you because you didn't give it back to me on time.
Right.
Your credit report shows how good you are at giving money back, managing your money, paying things on time. So that is why it's what's so important with going to mortgage. Remember, you're borrowing a large amount of money for a long period of time. They want to know that you're going to be making them payments on time. And that's all it is. It's just security.
Right.
It's the same way it would work for anyone.
Right.
You're going to want to make sure that you're getting your money back.
Of course.
And obviously, because they're borrowing you that money for a period of time, they're going to add interest on it. That's where the interest rates comes in. So if you have a kind of like a crap credit, they do bump up the interest.
Okay.
Just in case. If you have a better credit, then the interest rate does lower a little bit.
Is it best to kind of clear off all of your debt and get your monthly bills down to a minimum?
Yes.
Because we do get debt, like a car, easily, £200-300 liability.
Yeah.
Why are you still doing that?
But the thing is, they don't penalise you for having things like that. Like, people just know, people get cars and you pay them off monthly, blah, blah, blah. Like, they don't penalise it. They don't penalise you for that. They just look at your outgoings and look at, can she really afford to pay me this back every single month?
Yeah, and obviously, if your mortgage is like £600, is it like 3 times... your wages needs to be 3 times the mortgage.
So kind of like the rule of thumb is whatever your salary is, let's say, argument's sake, it's £25,000 a month. The mortgage lender will typically times that around 4.5%. And then whatever that figure is, that'll be around the figure that they'll be willing to borrow you.
Okay.
So that figure is not set in stone. And that figure may fluctuate depending on your credit score and then how much your outgoings are as well. So like, I think at the time, I think that maybe when I timed my salary by like 4.5% when I was first looking for a house, I think it was quite low. I think it was like just over like 100 something like that, £100,000. That dipped because of my outgoings and my credit history. So that's what I mean. It affects it. So like when I did the rule of thumb, it was a lot higher. But when the mortgage broker went through it with me, he was like, you can actually only borrow this because of your own financial situation. That's why it's very personal. The whole experience is personal, so you need to make sure that you're not watching other people when you're doing it. Because just like you and Shelly-Ann, who knows who Shelly-Ann is? You and Shelly-Ann could be on the same salary, have similar outgoings, but your credit score could be totally different.
Right.
Your buying experience is going to be different through your mortgage broker because, again, if you've got a poorer credit history, that's also going to take into consideration by a mortgage broker as well.
Yeah, and I feel like people don't really... I didn't really understand credit history and stuff like that until I got to a certain age. You know what I mean? And one bad credit file could mess you up for 6 years. And prevent you and takes ages to rebuild up.
Yeah.
What do you think the best ways are to like build up your credit in the right way?
If you're okay with paying money back, a credit card is always a good way because it means that it shows that you've borrowed money. So let's say you've got £500 on a credit card. If you're using, let's say, £400 of that credit card, and at the end of the month, you're wiping off that £400 back to zero, that's good credit utilization because it means that you're borrowing money and you can pay it back. However, if you're only paying like the minimum amount, like only clearing up by £10, you haven't got good credit utilization. So they like to see that you've got between like 25 to 50% credit utilization. And that is kind of like in your little green area. When you're seen to not be able to pay off your credit in time or only making little small increments to get it down, it means that you're not really managing your money quite well as well. So having a credit card and paying off credit is a great way to kind of like boost your credit score.
Would you advise someone to get a credit card before they get the mortgage to build that up?
I only say get a credit card if you know that you're responsible with money.
Right.
Because I only say it because I went through it.
Me too.
When I was younger, I got a credit card for the first time. Also, I didn't know that when you made an application for a credit card, the card just comes. No one tells you that. I was only inquiring, bro.
Do you know how easy it is to just like apply for a credit card?
Listen.
And get it next day.
Wild.
And then be having £3,000
just there.
I think it's nuts, you know.
That's what I mean.
It really is.
So that's how I got myself into like a spiral.
And I feel like it's low-key a con.
It is.
They're low-key manipulating me.
It is, which is why I say I will never tell someone get a credit card if you know that you're crap with money. If you get gassed to see that £3,000 there and you're going to be like, oh, I'll pay it off. And you know that you're not good at paying it off. Don't do it to yourself. Your
Can
subscriptions.
You still get a house if you've got a default?
Yeah, because that happened to me.
Okay.
I think at the point when I bought a house, I think I had at least 3 defaults on my account.
3 defaults?
Yeah.
I only had 1.
Yeah.
And I've been crying about this 1 dead default.
Yeah. I've had 3 defaults.
And you can still get a mortgage with that?
Yeah.
Because I feel like there really is a misconception about this credit thing, you know?
Yeah.
I know some big people that have never checked their credit. Mm-hmm. Like, I had to tell my dad, go and check your credit score. I bet you any money it's not that bad.
It's great to use Check My File.
Check My File is the next
it is
one I'm gonna do.
£14.99 a month to do it, but it's worth it.
Right,
and also, you haven't got to keep running it monthly. You just check
just do
it
it
pre
once and
and
then
just,
keep it moving.
just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like people don't check their credit.
Yeah.
They're scared, my credit's not really that good.
Okay, but what's the worst thing that happened when you check it?
There is no worse thing. You just know what your credit's saying.
Thank you.
It's important to check it. To check whether anyone's doing fraud on your account.
Yeah, man.
That's another reason why I check it.
Yes.
Because people are fast these days.
Fast.
People are got evil eye.
Yeah.
And they will take your money and look in your face.
And also
not
check
say
your
anything.
subscriptions as well. Check your subscriptions. What is coming out? Like, what do you pay for monthly? Like, especially when it's like an owing thing, like a phone contract, for example. Has someone got a phone contract in your name? Some people do that.
Yeah.
Some people do it. Some people can't get phone contracts, so they go through family members to do these kind of things. So let's say, for example, this hasn't happened, but let's say my mom wants to buy a house and my phone contract is in my mom's name, and then I'm not paying my phone contract bill. Business is not in my name, it's my mom's name. Now my mom's got a default on her credit file.
Yeah.
Because I'm not paying my phone contract. Think about things like that.
Yeah, I definitely feel like credit's important. I feel like anybody that is listening to this today, like, keep your credit.
Yeah, just
check your credit.
As I said, what's the worst thing that can happen? You check your credit and you either gas because it's fine, or you just know the improvements that you need to make.
Yeah.
And a lot of these credit report files now tell you the improvements that you need to make or what you can do to boost it as well. There's a lot of support out there. And I think that some people just get a bit too scared. But really and truly, I always say to everything in life, what is the worst thing that can happen?
It's true.
But I always say that when you want something, you're going to make sure you go and get it.
Right. Yeah,
you're going to make sure you go and get it, which is why we come back to the house thing. You need to have discipline because the whole saving process is difficult.
Can we talk about the saving process?
I didn't like it.
I can't stand it with a passion.
I didn't like it. But what I had to do and what I recommend to people is treat your savings as a bill. So don't wait until the end of the month to transfer because you know damn well ain't no money in there. There's no money in there. So when the money comes in, you're not going to transfer it.
Yeah.
And if you're crap with savings, put it in an account where you can't touch it for a certain period of time as well. You get penalised for it. There's accounts like that for people that just don't know how to just stop going. Transfer.
It's so easy.
It's easy, man.
So accessible.
It's easy.
When you've got all of your bank accounts online.
Also, if you've got someone that you trust, send them the money.
Yeah.
For example, you have the account in your name, but you don't have access to that account if you don't know how to not have like discipline with the transferring process. But also, I would say let people know what your goals are. I know a lot of people have the thing, I'm gonna stay private, but there's a lot of things in accountability. Like you could be like, oh, hey, I'm looking to buy a house in the next 3 years. Because I know that now, I'm gonna keep checking on you. Like, yo, how's it going? And because you know that I know, you're gonna be like, I don't want to people feel like I'm a flop.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Having accountability is good.
Yeah.
So like I would tell my friends, look, right now I'm saving for a house. So when you want to be going Cancun for spring break, I can't come.
Yeah.
And which is what happened. I can't go.
And that's so important, Hailee, because I feel like sometimes we feel like we have to go.
No.
We're going to miss out. We get FOMO.
Yeah, I get it.
We need to live life. But sacrifices is one of the biggest things for me this year, sacrifice and discipline. And you do have to sacrifice your lashes. You might have to sacrifice your nails.
I did.
You might have to sacrifice.
Oh my God, I did. When I say I hated it, I love my nails. Big up Nail by Jay. I know this is not like a promotion thing, but big up her. You can cancel that.
Big up Miss Chin at Yoshi.
LOL. Do you see my nails, yeah? Do you see my nails? I like them done.
I went short this month.
Yeah. I like them done, okay?
Yeah.
So when I was saving for my house, and okay, I do pay a pretty penny for my nails because I like...
How much you spending on your nails?
So hands and feet a month, I'd probably say I spend maybe like around like 100 to 120.
Oh my gosh, Hailee.
However...
I'm cheap, you know.
No, but however...
I'm like What design? No. How much is the design? Big ball thing now?
No.
I don't want to paint them red. Paint them, just give me a tip. You want to be doing all lines and all
Me, I
that.
have EXO. I have sugar tip.
Sugar tip. If you could see this girl's nails, man, like, whoa.
I said you're on YouTube.
That's why. I'm not doing it.
I think that's the thing though. So like, it was sacrificed because I get my toes done as well, and I have the acrylic on the big toe, and then we do it like I do
acrylic on the big toe. That's
like
an extra fiber.
No facts. This is what I mean. But it's something that makes me feel happy.
Yeah, of course.
But there's certain things that people are like, oh, I'd never cancel my gym membership. I locked that off.
Really?
That was the easiest one.
Whoa. How on earth are you making nails a priority, but yet you want to be cancelling the gym membership? Why, Hailee?
Because my appearance. Oh, that is appearance, isn't it? No, okay. Me personally, I can't do my nails myself, but I can do gym activities myself. Therefore,
do you though?
Yeah. No. Okay. So this is a little plug. But I've always loved dancing.
Okay.
Dancing has been part of my life since I could walk. Mm-hmm. So at one part of my life, dancing was my form of fitness. Mm-hmm. And then it turned into actual gym. I actually had an interest for the gym. And then it just died. I think it was just a phase. And then now I like to incorporate my love for dance. And I do like a dance fitness classes every single week. Cool. So I do Caribbean style dance fitness sessions. And that keeps me
fit.
Tight and right.
Yeah, girl.
So I just feel like also there's so many things that you can do to exercise. So I love walking. So where I live, don't want to bet on my area, but there's lots of greenery and I love that. So there's nice places to go on walks and things like that. So I'm okay with cancelling that little £20 a month.
I can now be cancelling my gym subscription, girl.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Some people would rather lock off the gym, and then keep the nails, but you'd like lock off the nails and keep the gym. So I feel like everyone's saving process is so different. And you've got to look at your outgoings and really think, do I need this? Like, do I need this?
Especially when we're going through such a difficult time at the moment with like the rising of prices. Like, I'll be in Morrison's and I'll be on that crisp aisle. And crisps are like £3.
No sense.
What?
And there's now only 3 crisps in the packet.
Yes.
So £3 and then only 3 crisps.
3 crisps, a pound of crisp. Like, what are we doing? So I think even little things like that, like, actually, my belly doesn't need crisps.
It does. But this is the thing, it's hard.
It's so hard to make sacrifices.
So I found it easy not to eat out. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah, because if you can cook in your house, because I can cook some Michelin star meals.
Yeah. With a belly like mine, you know I can cook.
You know I can cook.
You know I can cook because I be feeding myself. One thing I found really difficult to do was to adjust for the holidays. So I'm used to going on holiday often, and for the saving process, I knew that I had to stop. But what I did instead is that I found like new destinations to go to that were cheaper, that were still giving me that fulfillment. Yeah. And also, I feel like people need to look at, you can actually go on holiday for like a weekend after work. Yeah. So on Friday, you can go and get a train to Amsterdam or go get a quick flight and come back on Sunday. Yeah, like not everything has to be Cancun. Not everything has to be a £2,000-3,000 holiday. It doesn't.
Because it's like £2,000-3,000 is a deposit for a house.
Bro.
Like, hello. And that's
it's just solicitor fees.
It's not including spending money. Do you get what I mean?
Or my hair, because am I choosing braids? Am I choosing locks? Am I choosing a wig? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
And all of them cost money.
Right. Then you've got the clothes factored into that.
Then you've got your lashes. I do
think it's really, really important to like manage your finances.
Yeah.
And see, especially if you're going towards like a financial goal or you're trying to save something. Yeah, I feel lower your chest, man.
Lower it.
Lower it. Stick within your means. Live within your means. If you can't afford it, where you go?
Let it go.
Let it go. I never forget when I said to my dad, like, oh, Dad, I'm going to go to town. You have money for go town? He says, no. We're going window shopping.
And I
literally. And it's like from then you just know, okay, well, you know what? If I ain't got money, I'm not going to be in spaces where I'm going to spend money. Yeah. But you have certain friends that will force you to spend money. Like
those are the friends. This is what I mean. Yeah, tell people about what you want to do.
Yeah.
So like, if you do have friends like that, be like, yo, you see when you try coming to me, don't involve me.
Yeah.
My favorite phrase is, I'm not participating in that. That I say all the time. I say every
my
day.
next phase is now is not a good time.
Oh yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
So what other factors do we need to put into place in terms of getting that first property? So we mentioned sacrifices, we mentioned the why, we've mentioned savings, we've mentioned credit score. Is there anything else that somebody needs to consider when buying a property?
So, as you said, when people's chests are too high, so your mortgage broker will let you know how much you are able to afford. Now, let's say, for example, he says that a mortgage lender will be willing to borrow you around like £150,000. This £3 million house that you have on your wish list, look it off.
Ain't gonna happen.
It's not happening, because where you're getting the money that they're borrowing you is the money for the house, unless you've got another 2 million somewhere that I don't know about.
Yeah.
Where's that money coming from? So you need to make sure that you're now looking at what you can afford, and if the house prices in your area match what you can afford to borrow, and it's even like suitable for you long term. So for example, if it's you, a partner and your child, and you can only afford a 1-bed flat, it's not going to work.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So maybe right now is not the best time for you to buy, and renting is a better option because you can get what you can afford.
Right.
So it's also around that as well. A lot of people in London have this issue.
Yeah, because London prices are nuts, boy. Oh my gosh.
Respectfully, no.
Like, when I lived in London, like, I was spending money on a room. A box room.
And it'll be like a grand.
Like, is it? I don't even think it's even possible to buy in London if you're not earning a certain amount of money.
Bro.
You need like 4 or 5 people to put in on that mortgage.
And a lot of people do something called shared ownership, and even that is still expensive. Because the shared ownership will be the price of an actual house over here. Like, it doesn't make, like, for me, I don't understand how London, well, I get it, but it's just so expensive.
It's
like,
ridiculous.
How? And the thing is, I see a lot, there was a big discussion about this the other day, about London people moving out of London.
Yeah.
And a lot of them said that, but they don't want to move out because if you're used to London life and used to the business and the accessibility to everything, 'cause London, come on, London is a vibe.
London's lit.
We are Birmingham babes, yeah, but London is a vibe.
London's a whole vibe.
And
But it's a whole pocket eater. Like, I feel like
I can
someone's put...
just go for one day, bank account's wiped out.
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
I did
yeah,
was
yeah.
breathe.
Yeah, man. Like, it
Who
ain't a
tapped
joke.
my car? Because it wasn't me.
Literally, before you've even got to London, you spent £100 just to get there.
Facts.
And that's just on your train ticket or your petrol or your lunch in the expensive
And what's
petrol
rude
station.
is that TfL have the audacity to take money from you, and it will pop up in the middle of the night. Like, you just spent £100 on TfL. Why? How?
It's nuts, man. I don't know how I even
I went
survived
from
for
zone 1 to
7
zone
years.
2.
Yeah, literally.
It's rude.
I think that's why I came back to Brum, because
It's
it was just too
rude,
expensive.
man.
And it's full. I just wasn't getting a quality of life in London.
If
yeah.
I was to match my life in
Yeah.
Birmingham now, in London, I'd need to be earning £1 million a month.
Yeah. Like, I need to be earning 100 bags a year as a Birmingham.
Facts. Even 100 bags in London don't even take it that far these
It
days.
doesn't even take it that
It
far. Like, you
doesn't.
can't be on an average 35k job in London and still survive. Like, it's crazy.
And try and buy a house by yourself.
It's crazy.
LOL. No, because let's do the calculations.
Yeah, let's do the math.
Okay, so if you're on a £35,000 salary, times that by 4.5, that is £157,500. That is what a mortgage lender would typically borrow to you. The average house price in London is around 400,000 something. Like, you're not close. Like, it's not even like, even if I just add a bit more deposit, maybe you're not close.
It's a no from me. It's not going to happen.
Like, it's a no.
In Birmingham, 150,000 could get you a 2-bedroom house. It could even get you a 4-bedroom house.
If you go like black countrysides, can get you a 3-4 bedroom house, you know.
Even all our country house.
Yeah.
In the country.
Yeah.
In greenery.
Mm.
With a little cow in the back that you can cut up and
how
season up for Sunday. Nah, it's true. And you talk about spaces like Nottingham, you got places like Derby, you got places like outskirts.
Yeah.
And mortgage rates are down, man.
But the thing is also, I also feel like I'm going to use us as black people, yeah? I feel like our experience about migrating to different areas is completely different, because it may be easier for a different demographic to just move.
Yeah.
Because there's not many things that maybe they need to get used to.
Right.
Do they have a hair shop within a good radius?
That is...
Do they have a hair shop? That's all I care about.
Can I get my
Because
seasonings and my meats?
when I want to go and get plantain and yam and dumpling and everything, where can I get it from?
Where's
my local patty shop?
So important.
Where's my local patty shop?
Where's my local food shop?
I don't want to have to be traveling 1 hour to just go and get relaxer. Who wants to do that? Just get care.
It's true.
Come on, man. I know. Big up Superdrug. Big up Boots, yeah.
They're trying.
Because you're trying.
They're trying.
But not everyone wants to use ORS.
Yeah, and your prices are way more expensive than Mr. Ali.
Thank you.
Mr. Bossman. Bossman.
And when am I going to get my little edge control brush from? Because Superdrug tried with that too and it didn't work.
It didn't work. That's a good point, you know.
This is the thing, it's harder for us and also like family as well. Like where we're going to raise our kids and things like that. You got to think about areas. So like, for example, it may be better for certain people in London to move out of like the main city because it's a safer environment for other people.
Yeah.
How much crime goes on in London as well. There's all these different factors that you got to think about. That's another point. So when you are looking for houses, you need to have a needs and wants list.
What other things does a first-time buyer need to consider? Fees.
So there are a lot of additional costs when it comes to buying a house that I think people don't know about. The fees do not stop at the deposit. There's a lot of processing fees in order to buy the house. So when you're using a mortgage advisor, they're going to have a fee. So the mortgage advisor fee, usually around like £250 to £500. That's kind of like their standard fee. Then you're going to have a mortgage product fee. So you pay for the mortgage product that you're taking out. It don't make no sense. All those fees don't make sense. That mortgage product fee can be added onto your mortgage. And it's usually around like £1,000.
Right.
So I personally chose to add it on, but you can pay it off before.
Quickly.
Just straight away before you do the mortgage. Then you've got a valuation fee. So the mortgage company will go out and give you like an estimate of what they think the property's worth as well. So you have to pay for that. Then you're going to have your solicitor fees as well. So your solicitor fees will always vary because it's dependent on the property. So if your property is a house rather than like an apartment or anything like that, the fees will still differ because it's a different process.
Right.
Solicitors do searches on a house, and there's certain searches where it wouldn't apply for a house, but it would apply for an apartment. It's also location dependent. Because let's say, for example, you've bought your house in a HS2 area where it's been built. There's a search for that now. You got to pay for the search as well.
Okay.
And there's also a search for if you buy in the Black Country. There's a search for it being near a coal mine. Your house can't be too close to a coal mine. So if it is, it does make your house unmortgageable. Yeah. That's another thing, another long conversation. We haven't got time for that. But there are lots of things that make a property unmortgageable and you can't actually get a mortgage on the property.
What about houses or apartments?
I always say houses personally, because number one, houses appreciate in value a lot more. You can do more things to houses to help them appreciate in value, whereas you're more restricted on an apartment. Apartments, you also have additional costs such as ground rent and service charge. So service charge, you're kind of paying for like the maintenance of the building and things like that. The ground rent, you're paying for like the land that the property sits on. A lot of new build houses are incorporating like their own version of ground rent as well. So even if you do buy a new build house, factor in the fact there are still additional costs when buying a new build house as well.
We've gone over a little bit about first time properties. We've mentioned getting your credit file up, making sure you're checking that on a regular basis, saying no to commitments and making sacrifices.
Like the gym.
To save money, location, where do you want to live, your why.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's important for people to invest in property?
Property is a great investment because people always need somewhere to live.
Right.
And again, on the other side of property, like commercial property, there's always going to be shops. Asda is a property, Tesco is a property. Like there's always a need for a shop. There's always a need for somewhere to live. So I think it's an industry that will never be removed. It can't be removed. People always need somewhere to live. That's why I think it's a good investment. Property does tend to go up in value. So when you purchase a property now, the better side of property is that obviously you will see a return on your money and profit in it as well.
Right.
The worst side is that I feel like this is more when you buy apartments. Let's say, for example, you buy a new build apartment. You'll buy it at a premium price and then give it like 5 years. The price is now going to drop because it's no longer premium. It's old now, so the value of it has decreased. So apartments, you do tend to lose value, which is why I say to people, make sure you do your due diligence and your research before you're buying these things, because that needs to be a factor in your head as well.
Yeah.
And obviously also the way that the market is going, you need to factor it in as well, because when it comes to you potentially wanting to sell the property, is now a good time to sell and things like that you need to consider. So I don't see how property will ever be a bad investment if you do your numbers properly.
Yeah.
And also there are so many different avenues of property that you can go through, that it's always good to have knowledge on all the different elements of property investment. So like HMO, which is house multiple occupancy, student accommodation, you've got serviced accommodation, supported living, social housing, you've got you can even do an assisted sale. There's so many avenues of property that you can go through that I don't see how property investment is a bad investment.
Right. And it's still a long-term investment.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're not going to get that instant gratification.
Yeah.
But once your mortgage is paid off and these bills are going to be doubling now, do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just ease the pocket a little bit.
I'd also want to say that when you're buying a house, a conversation that you're going to have with your mortgage advisor is, do you want a fixed term or a variable term? And I would always say, obviously you need to get the proper advice, but having a fixed term is good because you know that your mortgage rate is going to stay consistent for 2, 3, 5 years. So like, do you see how the interest rates have doubled now?
Yeah.
I would actually find it very difficult if my mortgage
was variable
in this economy right now.
Of course.
Because that would mean that my mortgage payment would go to a figure that I think I'd actually struggle to manage.
Right.
So if you know you like consistency and things like that, I do opt in for like a fixed rate.
Fixed rate.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hailee, for coming on to the show today.
I've had such a good time.
Oh, have you enjoyed yourself?
Yeah.
You love the studio space?
I love it.
Oh,
It's very homey.
Tell us where we can find you.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Let's Talk Property _ and there is always a workshop that is up and coming very, very soon. So just make sure you stay tuned if you are interested in property investment and also buying your first property.
If you want to tune in to more episodes with Mek Sense with Melzy, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and of course, you need to make sure you click that subscribe button.
Click it.
Click it.
Click it.
We're really trying to build a community here, and we want your feedback, and we want you part of the family. That's all for today's episode. Thank you so much, Hailee. See you soon, guys.
See ya.
Bye.